all your roles that you've done, I mean, you've had a long and distinguished career, like you were saying. What's been your favourite? What's been your favourite role that you? It doesn't have to be in the genre. Just
no, sure,
what's your favourite
No,
role?
I mean, I'd have to say, I mean, one of my favorite roles was Harold Lauder in The Stand, and that was really because I had never, up to that point, been given the opportunity to play a character like that. I was always playing the, you know, sort of, I mean, either kind of the victim character, you know, or the cool guy in the school, the real well-rounded, you know, the top of the class kind of guy, and when I got the opportunity to play Harold Lauder, it was the first time someone said, "Look, we believe in you as an actor, and believe that you can do this, even though you're not right for the part.
Yeah.
We believe you can bring the life that the character needs in order for people to believe."
Yeah.
In the character.
Well, that's what acting's all about.
Yeah,
really,
and yeah, because I when I read the character breakdown, you know, for Harold Lauder, it did not read like me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were looking for someone, you know, close to, you know, 300 pounds and just big and just, you know, and I was like, I'm as skinny as a rail. You know what I mean? I'm like the polar opposite of this, but, you know.
Fat suits.
Yeah, well, they did give me one. I
Yeah.
actually had one in the first, they trimmed it off as the story went on, but for the first part of the story, I have like this weird little pooch belly and like this funny, like, you know, bubble butt.
Yeah.
It's pretty hilarious. It's pretty hilarious.
Yeah,
Because they
well,
couldn't go too far with the fat suit, you know, so they had to just like make it look like I had this funny little shape, little pear shape to me.
just slightly rotund.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Art is your thing.
Yeah.
Graffiti art is your passion. Do you have any exhibitions? Have you done any exhibitions of your art?
Well, I mean, not because I don't do canvases or anything like that at this point. You know, I mean, I've really been overall. I started doing graffiti art in 1986, and really it's been about sticking to, for me, what is the organic, you know, side of it, which is the walls, doing the graffiti art on walls, because it's about scale and size. I just did there's a Mexican soft drink that's pretty popular over in America called Jarritos, and we just did a big mural for them this past weekend before I came here that will go up on their website and whatnot. But I mean, this thing is like, you know, 22 feet high by like 30 feet, 60 feet long altogether, but there was 3 artists doing it, so I think mine's probably like 25 feet by 20 feet. You know, I mean, just massive, you know, a scale that if you were to try and have a canvas made that big, you couldn't, number one.
Yeah.
It'd have stitch points.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But even if you were to be able to, it would probably cost you, you know, $15,000 for a canvas that size.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so give me a wall.
It's just, yeah, you know, and I just love the whole feel of it. You know, there's something about the interaction between the artist and the environment that says something to me as well, because I paint a lot in South Central Los Angeles, because there's a lot of wall space down there, but the neighborhoods are you know, sketchy.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but the thing is that in those neighborhoods, though, the people embrace the art a lot more, because they'd rather see the art than the gang graffiti.
Yeah.
Because the gang graffiti perpetuates a cycle of violence.
Yeah.
You know, and for the most part, the gangsters respect the graffiti art. So when we go there and we beautify the alleys, we basically are making this art walk, you know, that just goes on for miles and miles down all of these alleys, and it's just, you know, one mural after the next, and I think it's really cool.
Yeah. It'd be amazing just to walk down those
It
streets,
is.
you know.
Exactly.
Yeah. So how do you feel when someone comes and just tags over the top of one of your things just the way
You know,
it is?
it is the way it is. I mean, you know, there's not one graffiti artist out there that doesn't get irked by it. But at the end of the day, it's the nature of what it is. You know, I mean, it's never gonna last. It's not supposed to be permanent. It's and there's something interesting about a lesson to be learned as a graffiti artist in life too, is the detachment, not being, you know, not coveting what you create.
Yeah, because it's public space.
Well, yeah, not only that, somebody's gonna go over it. You know what I mean? It's like at the graffiti yards, you know, you might stay up 1 or 2 days, you know, or you may stay up for weeks and weeks. It just depends, you know. But I mean, I remember one time at one of the graffiti yards in Venice, I did a mural, and 3.5 minutes later, somebody came up and was going over it.
That'd be heartbreaking, you know?
But that's the nature of
Yeah,
it, you know.
yeah.
It's like, okay, well, there it goes, you know, because it's just about the process, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Do you have a wall at home? Do you practice on?
I used to, not where I live now. In my old place, I did. It was great. I had it was only 8 feet high by about 20 or 23 feet long or so. But it was, you know, it was a good size to just just doodle on, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
We were talking about Star Wars before. I didn't
Yeah.
realize that you're a fan, but until now. But they've been talking about a live-action Star Wars TV show for so long now, in regards to George Lucas getting his ass in gear and doing it. Would you be going, me, please?
Well,
A live action?
Of course I would.
Yeah.
Do I think that it would be a good idea? Not really.
No?
I don't know. A Star Wars TV series wouldn't translate as well to me as the feature films. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Just as a fan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that going from that to the small screen, you know what I mean? I'm sure it would probably end up getting watched a lot, and I would die to be on it.
Yeah, yeah.
But as a fan, it wouldn't be my knee-jerk reaction is,
Really?
TV series? Really?
Do you have to?
Yeah. Do we have to? Just do another great film.
Yeah, well, that'd be nice. But they were talking about Battlestar Galactica and taking it in that kind of direction, having that seriousness about it and that edge.
Right.
So I think what you were saying before, it's like, well, is that still Star Wars?
Right,
You know?
exactly. Is it still Star Wars? Yeah.
So it's an adult. It's an adult show. Star Wars has always been about kids.
Yeah.
I mean, how did you feel when the last three came out then?
I wasn't as impressed. You know, I felt a couple of things. I mean, to be honest, I thought that there was an overuse of CGI. I would, you know, I mean, I still think even in going back and watching some of the older Star Wars, using the miniatures is still smart. I think that there's a blend that can be done where you use, you know, a bit of both and everything, because at a certain point, I mean, it just felt like, you know what I mean, too much CGI for me.
Yeah.
But I thought that it didn't have this until the later ones. The first few, like the Jar Jar Binks and all that, it didn't have that edge. You know, because C-3PO was the comedic.
Yeah.
He was the comic relief. You know, for the most part, but. It worked with C-3PO, you know.
Yeah.
But for me with Jar Jar Binks, because it's animated and all of that, and it's CGI, and it was overkill for me, you know what I mean? And I know that a lot of other hardcore fans felt similar, you know. But then I have to say that the younger kids,
That's what I was gonna say.
you know, who never saw it before, they love Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah.
They love all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm only speaking from, you know, my point of view, being a fan of from the 70s.
That was the same with me. They came out, I was really excited to go and see them.
Yeah.
But then seeing them, it was like, yeah, I love these movies, but I also had to take myself back and go, you know what? How did I feel as a kid watching the original Star Wars? You know, how would my kids now feel? And having my daughter at that age, loving it, coming out of the cinema with that same kind of excitement that I had when I saw Empire, was like, they still do have it. Yeah, you know, as an adult, those movies weren't made for adults.
Right.
You know, they were made for kids, but adults just happen to like them.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and I think that's the magic that George Lucas can really, you know, encapsulate in the movie. So, I guess, you know, we've all got to remain kids a little bit now when it comes to that sketch.
For sure.
Yeah. But all right, well, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Thank you
so much.
Lovely to meet you.
Yeah, you too.
And enjoy your stay. I'll be seeing you at Comic Con on the weekend.
I'll see you there.